Noir's JMC review of 2022.
Okie dokie, let's get this show on the road! Cricket, get the bags!
My master's in the yard, giving life to the unaware. I'm overcome, baby.
I know for those who watch me that 2021 ended in kind of a bumpy note, in the sense that I didn't really get to finish the year off right with the JMC reviews, but I'm back and hopefully I'll be a bit more organized this year. Last year was a bit of a clusterfuck after the false ideas that the horrors of 2020 were starting to come to a close.
You're so goddamn mad-hollered you can hardly talk.
But anyway, as I do every year, I'm going to start this season of the JMC reviews by looking at a film by my all-time favorite action star, Charles Bronson.
Been in town 72 hours. Gang raped, abandoned.
One man who won't be pushed.
That's justice.
And like last year with Once Upon a Time in the West, we're going to be taking a look at some of his pre-Death Wish films, even further back, all the way to the 1950s, with the first film he ever had a leading role in, Machine Gun Kelly.
Butterfly effect from the last 3 days now. Maybe if I had something to say.
No. I'm talking about the 1958 film noir directed by Roger Corman. So yeah, in a way I'm going back to the early days of two of my favorite people to talk about, Charles Bronson and Roger Corman.
Excellent!
Machine Gun Kelly was a low-budget gangster film produced and directed by Roger Corman, put out by the B-movie company that released most of his early films, American International Pictures. Inspired by and loosely based upon the life of infamous gangster George Machine Gun Kelly, or as he was known when he went to prison, Pop Gun Kelly.
That's funny.
As in most Roger Corman films, the backstory is just as, if not more interesting to go into as the film itself. After years of making sci-fi movies, American International Pictures owners Samuel Z. Arkoff, a name many cult classic B-movie fans will know, and James H. Nicholson decided they wanted to do a gangster film. Roger Corman says he was attracted to the idea of doing a film on Machine Gun Kelly because of how he meekly surrendered to the authorities at the end of his crime career. And just to be clear on two things, I'm not going to go into how accurate this movie is regarding the real Kelly's life, because they took a lot of liberties and changed a lot of things. And I also don't plan to make any more Machine Gun Kelly jokes, because I'm not really that familiar with his music, so there aren't really a lot of jokes I could make.
And that's that.
Corman hired Robert Wright Campbell, a regular early collaborator of his, to write the script after working together on the western Five Guns West. The main inspiration for the film was Kelly and his gang's kidnapping of millionaire Charles F. Urschel, which led to him and his wife, who was also his partner in crime's eventual capture. Corman originally wanted his main right-hand supporting actor, Dick Miller, a face a lot of filmgoers might recognize, to play Kelly. However, Campbell wanted his brother William to play the lead. To avoid bad blood breaking out between them, Corman eventually cast Charles Bronson in what would be his first leading role at the age of 35. Which is almost not surprising considering how many people got their first jobs working for Corman, and this was actually the only time that Charles Bronson and Roger Corman ever collaborated together. In normal Corman fashion, the film was made pretty quickly, reportedly filmed over a course of only 8 to 10 days on a budget of about $60,000. Say what you will about Roger Corman, but he knew how to make a film on the budget he had. As for the film itself, Machine Gun Kelly is a pretty entertaining gangster film. It's by no means an outstanding film noir, but it keeps you interested, it's very thrilling, and a lot of that is owed to the good pacing and the performances of Charles Bronson and Susan Cabot. The plot is pretty easy to follow. Charles Bronson stars as George Kelly, a gangster who makes a living robbing banks. His partner in crime is his girlfriend, Flo Becker, played by Cabot, who's actually the one that gave him the nickname Machine Gun. The two work with a whole crew of gangsters. Howard, played by Jack Lemmon, Lambert, Maisie, played by Wally Campo, and Fandango, played by Maury Amsterdam, nicknamed, to his irritation, Fanny.
You better be nice, Fanny.
Don't call me Fanny.
And a drunken gas station owner named Harry, played by Frank Devon, who has a zoo in his backyard filled with animals that he supposedly caught as a game hunter, including a fucking lion.
Ooh, I quiver with fear.
The gang is very successful and pretty smart in how they conduct their robberies. The only thing that gets in their way is Kelly's short-fused temper and possessiveness of Flo.
You like to be looked at, don't you? You like to be petted, you like soft things. You just remember, baby, something soft can choke you right into a soft death.
Gotta say, it's kind of weird to see Charles Bronson without any kind of facial hair. It just doesn't look natural. Kind of like me.
That hurts me just looking at it.
And despite his tough, violent character, Kelly appears to have a pretty crippling fear of death and symbols of death. This leads to many blow-ups with the gang, including a near-fatal fight with Howard. After being caught trying to pocket some money, Kelly takes Fandango to Harry's zoo, where he apparently has his arm mauled off by the lion. God damn.
Oh, for God's sake! Oh, he's got armor!
For the next robbery, Flo uses her good looks to throw off the armored car coming in. Howard goes in to rob the bank, killing a guard in the process. As Kelly waits outside to do his part, he sees a coffin getting moved. The sight of it putting him in a state where he's unable to do his part of the job. The robbers make their getaway. In the process, Maisie gets shot and killed. Deciding to lay low until the heat blows over, Kelly and Flo go to stay with Flo's mother, played by Connie Gilchrist, an apparent madame of a whorehouse.
Ma, this is George.
You never could pick your men, could you?
I'm tired and I'm hungry, old lady. Let me...
You punk.
She's ecstatic to see her daughter, but not as happy to meet Kelly, who she constantly pokes throughout their stay.
It's a wonder booze wouldn't make you sick, seeing as how you served 2 stretches for running it in.
You tell your old lady to keep her wisecracks behind her teeth or she's gonna be wearing false ones.
I already do, smart Alex.
Tell her.
Bitter over the botched robbery and the fight they had earlier, Howard sends a new partner to Flo to try and scare her and Kelly away, and god damn, this dude is unsettling.
This new bunch wants Kelly to stay out of banks altogether. They say he might die. Please, allow me.
I think I just loaded my pants.
Flo returns to her mother's whorehouse where she catches Kelly making out with, based on what they say, her sister?
Anyone has sex with my sister, it's gonna be me!
A bit of slapping happens between the two, and despite this, Flo warns him about Howard.
Running away, brave boy! Tough boy there.
He isn't running. George isn't afraid of any man living.
Kelly tracks down and kills Howard along with his new gang. Prompted by Ma Becker's insults and Flo's egging, Kelly decides to move from bank robbing to kidnapping to become public enemy #1.
Yeah, well, you can't have it. You know why? Why? 'Cause I'm #1.
Sometime later, Kelly and Flo stake out and kidnap Cheryl Vito, the daughter of a wealthy businessman, played by Lori Martin, who would later go on to play Nancy Bowden in the 1962 version of Cape Fear, along with her nurse, Lynn, played by Barbara Morris. Kelly and Flo take Cheryl and Lynn to a motel with their new partner, Apple. Yes, Apple, played by Richard Devon, and are joined at one point by Flo's father and mother, who, despite not liking Kelly, is very supportive and helpful to her daughter, even if it is for illegal shit, and shows a real sweet side when it comes to the girl. They keep the two of them for an undisclosed amount of time, demanding $100,000. As the police try to find the girl and the feds try to find Kelly and his gang, tensions arise between Kelly, Flo, and Apple. One night, while Flo is out making a ransom call, a cop spots her and takes notice of her car, which appears to be out of state and filled with newspapers of Kelly's previous exploits.
How stupid can you get?
After moving to avoid getting caught, Flo grows tired of Kelly being overly cautious and his fear and paranoia of death, calling him out for being scared and weak, saying he'd be nothing without her, and at one point goes full femme fatale, trying to play Apple against him.
Go ahead, Apple, and I'll peel and core you.
This leads to Kelly killing Apple, and he and Flo are apparently okay.
Move along. Move along.
Needing a new right-hand man, Kelly enlists Harry from his gas station, and needing a pickup guy, Kelly calls Fandango, which proves to be probably his biggest mistake, because if you lost an arm, would you be willing to work with the person responsible?
No.
Fandango picks up the money, but not before calling the cops.
Snitch. Stool pigeon. Informer. Squealer.
Harry intercepts Fandango and takes him back to the hotel, where the cops soon show up. Kelly seems horrified that Fandango ratted him out.
I think when you were talking to me over the telephone, I didn't hear that mountain lion? There's a sound I couldn't forget very easy. Wise guy, huh? Wise.
While Harry's willing to go out, guns a-blazing, Kelly is petrified with being cornered with no way out. Terrified of getting killed either on the spot by the cops or in the electric chair, Kelly decides to give himself up, something that infuriates Flo.
Well, I made you. And I'll make your name stick, whether you like it or not. With those two dead, you'll get the chair. And I'll plead that I'm a woman. And I'm scared of you. It'll be a nice touch, huh?
And just as what drew Corman into the story, Kelly gives up without putting up a fight, to the cops' own amusement, leading to them quipping,
Come on along, Top Gun, Kelly.
The girl and her nurse are rescued, Kelly and Flo are taken away to probably spend the rest of their lives in prison, and the film ends. I'll admit, a little abrupt, but given what we've seen of Kelly and his character throughout the film, feels fitting that it would end this way, and goddamn, Susan Cabot, she just completely steals the ending with her performance. The film was released as a double feature by American International Pictures in 1958 with the Bonnie Parker story. While it didn't receive glowing praise, the film did get decent reviews, and Susan Cabot later, I believe, called Machine Gun Kelly her favorite of the 6 films she made with Roger Corman. Much like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, many people forget that Charles Bronson is actually a pretty damn good actor. He was more than just the tough hero slash anti-hero that he became known for in the 70s and 80s. And this film, I feel, really highlights his acting talents, having him play a much different character than we're used to seeing. George Kelly is a ruthless, violent gangster with pretty much no redeeming qualities, but he's not one-dimensional either. We see many times that he's insecure and vulnerable, and Bronson really sells the state of paralyzed fear in the final scene. I'll admit, the fear of death and death symbols could have been a little more developed, but he did act these out pretty well. The only scene where his acting is a little off is when Kelly wakes up from a nightmare. I don't know what to say. That scream is just funny. One part of the film that I thought was very interesting was when they're keeping the girl and the nurse captive, and Apple appears to be threatening to rape the nurse, and Kelly, in a surprising moment, points his gun at him and tells him to get out.
You were trying to rape this woman, weren't you? This is some unacceptable behavior. Rape is against the rules here.
And later we get a silly but kind of works moment where Kelly is playing patty cake with Cheryl.
Hey, fellas. Want to play?
And despite these two possibly only redeeming moments, Kelly later says to Flo that he plans to kill them after they get the ransom money. Something that Flo is very supportive of.
That's some cold shit.
Speaking of which, Susan Cabot. Holy shit. This may be called Machine Gun Kelly, and Charles Bronson may be the lead, but Susan Cabot pretty much steals this movie. The Flo character just keeps you on the edge of your seat. You really don't know what to expect with her. She's Kelly's girlfriend, partner, and clearly the smarter of the two. The scene where the two of them kidnap the little girl and the nurse is honestly, despite there being no violence, pretty unsettling. It's clear as the film goes on, even though Kelly is possessive and sometimes violent towards her, Flo is the one with the most power in this relationship. Everything Kelly has become, everything he's done, has either been suggested by her or because she manipulated him. While the film's story is not the most complex or true to reality, it is definitely the characters that make this movie work. Every actor in this film is either excellent or very entertaining. The standout supporting character is definitely Ma Becker, played by Connie Gilchrist, who I think pretty much owns the film in her few scenes. The character is both a mean, nasty bitch, but also a loving mother with a heart of gold. She's just a blast to watch, and I fucking love her.
Now, leave it till I see that she's all right.
Listen, you kind-hearted, white-haired old granny. Too many people up here out of the season and the whole works can blow.
Don't bother me.
At the end of the day, I recommend Machine Gun Kelly from 1958. It's a entertaining, low-budget 1950s crime film. It's suspenseful and just keeps you wanting to know what will happen next. The only thing about it that I really don't like is the film score, which, while it does have some good tense moments, can get unnecessarily zany at times. Yeah, you're gonna sit there wondering, who's the dumb cunt that composed this? And the answer to that is Gerald Fried, who composed many of Roger Corman's early films, as well as the early films of Stanley Kubrick. Whoa. And he would actually find a very successful career in television, composing the music to many classic TV shows, including Mission Impossible, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Gilligan's Island, and the original Star Trek. Well, it's nice to know his music career took off.
Nobody's working in the future.
The cinematography was done by Floyd Crosby, who actually won an Academy Award in 1931 for A Story of the South Seas. Many of his latter credits were on Roger Corman Productions because, hey, some people get their big break working for Corman, some people are kept employed, and how can you really complain about that?
I agree.
I totally recommend giving Machine Gun Kelly a watch if you're a fan of Charles Bronson, Roger Corman, or crime films in general. It's pretty easy to find. You can watch the whole movie in its entirety for free here on YouTube, and I hope you enjoyed the first JMC review of 2022. The next review will come out next month in May on Friday the 13th, and heh, you know what that means.
You want your machete back? Shit, it's yours. Take it. Guys, it's okay. He just wanted his machete back.
Machine Gun Kelly, that's a hard nickname to say. How about